Hello lovely people, this is video number 66 and it's on harder indices rules. Now there is a video on indices rules in the number section which has rules 1 to 7 in. They are all ones that could be on foundation paper. This is the stuff that's on higher paper only. I've included rule 7 again just so you can see what we're doing with rule number 7, maybe a slightly more complicated rule 7 style question than one that you wouldn't get on a foundation paper, I would have thought. The keywords are indices and reciprocal. Now indices are the little numbers that are next to the base numbers. They're powers and they make the base number multiply itself by however many times that number is stating. So that small number is what we call an indices or a power or an exponent even. But we don't call them that really over here in England. And the reciprocal is when you turn a number upside down. Now every number is over 1 technically. We don't write it over 1. But it could be written over 1, it wouldn't change the number. And then we flip those numbers upside down to make it reciprocal. So if we had 3 over 5, the reciprocal of that would be 5 over 3. Okay. If you feel like you need to watch the other video before you watch this one, it's in the number section like I said, and yeah, please do that. But this one, we're going to start with rule 7, and that says that when the power is negative, turn it into reciprocal. Rule 8, which is question number 2, when the power is fractional and the top of the fraction is 1, the bottom number of the fraction tells you what to root the base number by. So it's basically just about rooting. Okay, square rooting, cube rooting, fourth rooting, etc. And then rule number 9, when the power is fractional but with a number greater than 1 on top, you need to root and then raise. So still do the rooting bit, but then you might need to raise to a specific power if there's a number bigger than 1 on top of the fractional power. Okay, there is a combination of these rules as well, which I've included in the video. So all bases covered, I would hope, for GCSE anyway. So in question 1, we've got simplify or evaluate if possible. Now simplify just means writing it in a different way, and evaluate means work out the numerical answer to. All right, so this first one, I'm just going to show you that I'm going to put 8 over 1. All right, 8 over 1 has not changed that number. 8 divided by 1 is still 8. Right, we'll flip those two numbers round. That becomes 1 over 8. Right, now that is basically a fraction that's being put to the power of minus 2. So therefore you're squaring both those numbers that are there. What you end up with is 1 squared, which is 1, and 8 squared, which is 64. Okay, so we can evaluate that one to be 1 over 64. All right, hopefully that makes sense. I'll just get rid of all of that we don't need. Get rid of this as well. And show you the same thing for this one without showing you all the same stuff I just showed you. So this one is an a to the power of minus 2, and literally all we can do with this is simplify it. It'd be 1 over a to the power of positive 2. Okay. We can obviously make the 1 squared always 1, isn't it? All right, if it's just this, so we don't have to worry about that. Now this third question is where we've got a fraction already. Now the whole fraction has been put to the power of minus 2. I'm going to flip those numbers around, just like I did with the other two questions. Okay, so 3's on the top and 2's on the bottom. And then I'm going to make them both squared. Okay, just like we did in the other question. And then I can evaluate that. So that's 9 and that's 4. Okay, and if I'm simplifying that and putting it into a mixed number, really it should be 2 and 1/4. Okay, and again, if you're not sure how to do that, go and watch the turning top heavy fractions into mixed numbers video. 2 whole ones and then 1 left over out of the 4. Okay, right, moving on to question 2. I've got to simplify or evaluate if possible again. And this one, it says 81 to the power of 1/4. Now this one, I've got a fractional power. Don't get confused if you've got fractions that you've got negative powers to and then fractional powers. All right, so this is to the power of 1/4. When the power is fractional, the top of the fraction is 1. The bottom number of the fraction tells you what to root the base number by. So I need the fourth root of 81. Okay, so that is little 4 root 81. Okay, I don't have to worry about that 1, right? Because it's just the fourth root of it. All right, that 1, if I raise to the power of 1 afterwards, it wouldn't change anything. All right, that's one of the indices rules you would have learned about earlier. So what number multiplies by itself to make 81, but it's got to multiply it by itself 4 times. So something times something times something times something, right? And that something can't be that big to begin with, can it? All right, so you did 1 times 1 times 1 times 1, which is 1, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. No, 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. Okay, so the answer would be 3, because 3 multiplies by 3 to make 9, multiplies by 3 to make 27, which multiplies by 3 to make 81. Okay, and that's the fourth root of 81. So the answer there would be 3. Okay, we've evaluated it, and we've got the answer of 3. Right, getting rid of that. Probably don't need to, but I'm going to anyway. Bit more space for this one. S to the power of 1/5. All right. Now, again, algebra, letters, instead of numbers, no different. That's it. All right. We can't do anything else. That is not a number, so we can't evaluate it. So we've just got the 5th root of S as our answer. All right. That is at 5, and that is an S. All right. I know they look fairly similar, but I'm trying to make them not look that similar. All right, so there we go. There's that one. And then the last one is a negative fractional power, but it's pretty much the same thing. We just got a combination of rule 7 and rule 8 here, just combining those. So that would be, because it's negative, it would be 1 over 49 to the power of a half. Okay, and anything to the power of a half, we need to root that. We need to square root that. Okay, so we could put that 49 in a root like that, just to show you that step. Okay, but then what we could do is, because we know what square root of 49 is, we could just put 7 straight away. So 1 over 7, 1/7 is the answer to that one. All right, combination of rule 7 and rule 8. Now, moving myself over, you will see the hardest of the questions here in question 3. Evaluate, and we've got 2 over 6 as the power, 2/6. 64 to the power of 2/6 is the thing that we've got. Now that could be written differently, couldn't it? We could simplify that fraction, but we're not going to, right? We're just going to deal with that because we need to 6th root the 64. All right, 6th root of 64 is 2, because I know 2 multiplies by itself 6 times over to make 64. All right, so I've got 2. All right, but what I'm going to do is write it down in order actually. So we've got that 64. And then I need to raise that this time, the whole thing, to this 2 that's on top there. Okay, well I know that that bit gives me 2, so I've got 2 to the power of 2. That 2 is what we've evaluated that bit in the brackets to be. And 2 squared is just 4, and there we go. It's not actually that difficult. I've got the answer already. And then the last one, this is a combination of rule 7 and rule 9. So negative fractional power, but we're raising at the end there as well. So same thing, we've got the cube root of 64. So the cube root of 64, and then to the power of 2. But remember, because it's negative, it's all got to be 1 over all of that. Okay, so it's going to be 1 over the cube root of 64. Well, that's 4, and then 4 needs to be put to the power of 2, and that's going to be 16. So we get a final answer of 1 over 16. Okay, so it's not actually that painful. If you're good with squares and square roots, and learning the rules, you'll be able to answer these questions all day long. All right. So I hope that has all made sense for you. Once more, if it isn't making sense and you've watched a load of my videos, then why are you still watching them? Obviously, I'm not the person for you. All right. I hope that I am, because I taught myself how to do maths, and this is how I've learned it. So yeah, keep watching, keep liking, keep subscribing, keep making comments on videos. I'll do my best to reply to them. Every time I see them, I reply to them. It's nice to get some comments, see how you're all getting on. I know hopefully there'll be more people, more and more people using this as a resource moving forwards. That's the aim. But ideally, it's for everybody that I teach, and at the moment I'm not able to. So yeah, that's the point of me making all these things, and you can make as much progress as you really want to. Click the link in the description for resources when they're there, and practice yourself. All right. Have a wonderful day and take care of yourselves. See you in a bit.